Welcome back to movementprofessional.com. So today I want to take a look at progressing from a bilateral hip hinge to a single leg deadlift. So whenever you're looking at a hip hinge position, one of the things that you want to make sure that you're working on is getting your hips back. So it's a posterior weight shift. So we can start with both feet down, feet facing forward, and the goal here is to shift our weight back so we move into the heels, but our butt moves behind the heels. All right, so any version where our hips are going back, we're really not trying to move too much from the spine, but just taking a bow at the hips, and the butt gets behind the heels, we're going into a hip hinge position. But the key is that we're moving back. So in the feet, we have to start with an awareness of both the front of the foot, the ball of the foot, and the heel, or the back of the foot. And as we shift back, we're going to bias the back of the foot towards the heel without losing the ball of the foot. So that's going to be our foundation here. With the spine, we're trying not to move too much into flexion or too much into extension, but basically we're just trying to keep the line and the orientation we have in standing and maintain that and move right from the hips here. So we can think of the hips as basically the groin. So as we get deeper into our hip hinge, we're going to get deeper into this hip crease here. So just a straight up hip hinge would be the idea of moving the hips back. The knees can bend, but they don't move forward, because as my hips go back and the knees bend, they're going to stay put. So if my knees bend, my hips have to go back more. I don't want to bend the knees and have them go forward, or I'm stopping the idea of moving backward. So any knee bend is just basically going to be corresponding to any movement of the hips back farther. All right, so that would be our first idea of just a bilateral hip hinge, feet facing forward, getting back. So now if we want to progress this to a more unilateral type of hip hinge, we're going to take a staggered stance. So we'll have the right leg be the leg I'm going to shift towards. I'm going to keep that back, and we'll say that the right foot is about a half foot step behind the left. All right, so now I'm going to basically do the same thing, but because my right foot's back, I'm orienting myself to the right side. So I'm going to feel this back pocket here open up on the right. I want to keep the inner thigh active on the left so my knee doesn't follow my hip. So I want the knee to stay right over the middle of the foot, over the second toe, keeping my foot very similar to the way I had it in the bilateral hip hinge, where I have the ball of the foot and the heel staying active, and I'm just sending this back. So I feel heavy through the right, I feel this back pocket open, feel the inner thigh active. I can lift my left foot, but my right foot's heavy. And then I'm going to come up slow, and my weight's going to stay on the right. So I'm biasing my right side here, but I still have the left foot for balance. All right, and I can do the same thing on the other side. If I want to progress this now to a single leg deadlift, I'm going to start loading that hip. I'm offloading this left, and then what I can do is drag that left toe up, but I keep this idea of this back pocket being open, this inner thigh. Now I can start moving down, and what this allows me to do is stay back through the hip as I go into my single leg deadlift. Too often what you see is single leg deadlift, you just take the foot off the ground and it becomes a falling forward and your body is out in front, the hip never goes back. So by starting from this stagger, where we have more balance, we can get this hip to open up, we can feel some tension here. Now we can slide this leg back and we can feel ourselves staying back. Now we go into our single leg deadlift type of movement, or our single leg hinge, and we're able to really get what we're looking to get out of it, which is that posterior weight shift, shifting to one side more than the other. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, you can go to movementprofessional.com. I'll see you next time.